Good morning. Good morning to all of you. Good morning, Dental Marketing Philippines subscriber. Good morning, Dental Marketing Philippines followers. I'm Mr. Roche Ruiz, and we're back with our service to Filipino dentists. I'm pretty sure you are all excited, as I'm very excited. We are so fortunate today because we have with us, no other than, of course, later I'm going to introduce him, and just wanted to really share what we're doing in the Philippines during the enhanced community quarantine. It was extended to April 30th, so we are just home. We don't have patients, we don't have clinics, and we don't have income. But this is a great opportunity for all of us to learn about dental marketing, to learn about the different kinds of discipline in terms of practice of dentistry. As again, we give you tools, social media, website, chatbots, artificial intelligence, and lectures and seminars that will really definitely aid your practice, especially after the lift of this enhanced community quarantine. We are all in this situation, but we cannot do anything but just to learn and absorb whatever we can hear, especially today's lecture. Okay? And again, as you can see, Dr. Matthew is already there. But just like to remind everybody that we do have a lot of lectures coming in. We are going to have another one tomorrow, April 17th at 10 a.m. That's going to be Dr. Sonia Dunbar. He's from Miami, Florida. So he's going to be talking about geriatric dentistry live from Florida. And we're going to also have April 22 and so much more before the April 30. So again, we have Dr. Matthew, but let us welcome Dr. Matthew now before we start his presentation. How are you, Dr. Matthew? Can you say hi to all the viewers?
I'm doing well. It's 9 p.m. here, and it's always fun traveling across the international date line and I'm talking to y'all Thursday morning.
You know, we're very excited that we're going to hear you again. As you can see in this picture, can you tell us more about this picture? Huh? As all of the viewers are also seeing this picture.
So I was fortunate enough to be able to travel to Boracay at the end of February, right before all this COVID-19 stuff hit, and to lecture at the International Congress for Biomimetic Dentistry, teaching a different form of dentistry that has come to really change the way we practice. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I've used this form of dentistry and an alternative business approach, knowing that this pandemic is changing people, it's changing our practices, it's changing the economics of what we're having to do.
Yeah. So we've actually heard something new about dentistry. I think this is something new, but this is something old, no? As Dr. Matthew said, he's been in the country last February, was able to do a lecture to Filipino dentists, and that's why we're very excited to hear you again. And so, how's your experience in the Philippines during that February? No, so we're just talking about before we light up the moment before we go and proceed with your value-based technique in biomimetic dentistry. Go ahead.
Definitely, that course, the whole time was probably one of the most enthusiastic courses I've ever attended. What we were talking about was the hospitality was amazing, the food was amazing, the enthusiasm to learn was amazing. Every morning there was a show of nationalism and prayer, and I don't think I've ever been more impressed with a group of dentists, with a host country, than I've ever been at that meeting. And so I'm so excited to be talking.
Yeah, thank you very much. On behalf of the Filipino dentists, we always welcome to travel to Philippines, especially after the COVID-19 is down. So. And I'm going to show you one more picture. I think most of the dentists there who is watching right now can see themselves there. Okay? So I can see some of the pictures there. I think you've traveled also to Tagaytay.
Yeah. And it was, we had the volcano going on, and it was spewing a little bit of gas that way. Josephine's was great food. I love Filipino food.
Nice.
Someone was supposed to send me a vinegar-based dipping sauce that I use for the fried pork legs, and I have not had that yet. So,
okay.
With your Filipino dipping sauce, the vinegar and the soy sauce, I need that recipe. It was so delicious.
Okay. So I think everybody's excited. We do have a lot of viewers right now. Thank you very much for those who are watching right now. Dr. Ann Camus, Dr. Fadul, and Dr. Joy. Thank you, and you are on time to listen in. So I would take off this screen share. So I would just like to get the screen share of Dr. Matthew. I'll introduce you first, okay? So
Okay.
our speaker for today is, of course, Dr. Matthew Gillespie, and he received his undergraduate degree from Texas Tech University and then attended University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio Dental School. Dr. Matthew is an advanced trained, minimally invasive biomimetic dentist, and he has a passion. No? I can see he's very passionate for changing the healthcare compensation system to a more efficient framework that delivers healthier outcome for patients. That's very important, while rewarding doctors for reducing the amount to treatment delivered. So we're very excited. I hope it will, all of your passion will reach the Philippines. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm very fortunate, Filipino dentist. Here is Dr. Matthew Gillespie.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Like I said, I enjoyed my time. It was one of the best trips I've ever had. And what we're going to do is we're going to jump in, and we know this COVID-19 is much larger than I think any one of us ever expected. We are fortunate enough to have a great week-long conference, and thankfully no one got infected with a disease. When I came back to the United States, I attended a conference that I spoke at in Canada. And at that conference, it ended up having about 50 dentists there, and we had 50 dentists actually got infected with the disease, and unfortunately one passed away. So I'm looking forward to coming back. Don't know when that will be. We all want to practice safely. So what I'm going to be talking about today is just an alternative approach, a way to look at your practice differently. We don't know what dentistry is going to look at. I had already talked to several doctors from the Philippines and here in the United States, and we don't know what PPE is going to look at like. We don't know what infection control is going to look like. We don't know how many patients that we're going to treat. We don't know how much volume we're going to have. And so knowing all those things, the key is just to be open-minded. And as long as you're open-minded and taking what comes at you as you can handle it, just know that things may change. And so what we're going to be talking about is an alternative approach to the business of dentistry. And so I hope that you'll be able to see my presentation. If you can't, Mr. Ruiz, just chime in there, and I can change some settings on my computer. So what we'll be talking about today is building a value-based.
Dr. Matthew, sorry, Dr. Matthew, sorry to interrupt you, but we can't see the slides yet, just like what we have tried this morning, so that most of our dentists can see it. Can you reshare again?
Okay.
There you go.
Can you see the slide?
There you go.
Okay. Perfect. So what we'll be talking about this morning is building a value-based practice using minimally invasive biomimetic restorative dentistry. That's a lot of words for saying we just want to do what's right for the patient. And if we do what's right for the patient, we shouldn't have to do a large volume of dentistry all the time. We expect our dentistry to last a long period of time. And so this alternative approach may be beneficial after the pandemic if you do have to slow down, if you do have to see a lower volume of patients. And so this is a way to look at your practice and just think of it differently. It's not saying you have to implement everything, but saying something just to open your mind and to open the way that you think about marketing your practice, the way you think about looking at different CEs for your practice, and what you can do to be a better member of the community. And so I'm Matt Gillespie. This is my practice, and actually my practice is a little bit smaller now. I primarily work with 3 other ladies. My wife is standing next to me in the background, and the 2 women on the right side of your screen, Janet and Natalie, are my primary 2. So we mainly offer work with 4 total staff members, including me. And then there's certain days when we were opening up the practice, and I would have a second hygienist, a second assistant, and a second front office when we were able to see a higher volume of patients. As I said, knowing we're about to go after the pandemic, that may not be the case anymore. And so the type of practice that I've built, I can be just as profitable with 4 total staff members, or we can turn up the volume and go to 7 staff members if that's the case. We don't know what it's going to look like, but it's something for you to think about. So what we're going to be talking about today is what is a value-based dental practice? How can you implement some value-based business concepts in your dental practice? How to market that practice, and then we'll open it up to questions. What you're seeing here is,
sorry again, Dr. Matthew. It's really unfortunate for the dentist because your slides are not moving. So can we try to have it move, because we can see actually your slides. Ah, there you go. So okay, go ahead.
Is that better? Okay. So can you see the white slide? Gotcha. So what we'll be talking about today is what is a value-based dental practice, how to implement the value-based concepts, marketing such a practice, and some questions. And so this is basically the type of dentistry that I do all day, every day. We're a very bread and butter dental practice. I don't focus a lot on cosmetics. I focus on functional dentistry and how to keep the patient out of my chair. And so typically we see this type of patient that comes in, a cracked molar. They're told that they probably need a crown somewhere. And I tell them, it's hard for me to tell if you need a crown or not. Let's take apart the tooth. Let's look underneath it. Let's assess what's there. And then we just put it back. So what I want you to think about is this should be the goal for everything that you do in your business. And it probably should be the goal for everything that you do in your life. I came across this picture, and it is the way a watchmaker decides what part of a watch is broken. What I was really impressed by this is look at the detail, look at the time, look at the intricacy of each part of that watch. The only way that you can find out what is working and what is not working is by taking it apart, analyzing each component on its own strengths, on its own merits, and then putting it back together in such a way that it works in absolute harmony. If you don't know what's actually broken, then you can't decide what parts you need to fix. And if you just throw out the whole watch, you're losing all of this fine craftsmanship that has withstood the test of time. So what I want you to think about your dental practice, what I want you to think about your marketing is how can I analyze each piece of it? How can I ensure that each piece is working to its full extent? And then how can we put it back together and be sure everything is working in pure harmony there? The same thing. We don't work on watches. We work on people. We work on teeth. We work on God's creation. We work on biological entities. And everything that we do, we should take the utmost respect to ensure that we're using the value, we're getting the maximum value that we possibly can from that. And so I had some of the best seafood I've ever had when I was in Boracay, and I was thoroughly impressed with the minimalistic techniques that the country used and the freshness of the seafood. So when I saw this, when I looked at the person who took the time to take this fish apart, every part of this fish was used. There was no waste. There was no excess. There was very, very respect to the animal that gave its life that we're eating. And so the same thing like the watch, we need to be taking that approach with our dentistry, with our business, with our dealings with other doctors, with our dealings with patients. And it's a picture that spoke to me. So we're going to get into a little bit of value-based pay and what are the incentives. So what I want you to think about is going through this. If I dropped you in the middle of the ocean, your survival techniques are going to kick in, and you're going to do everything that you can to survive. But in the middle of the ocean, you have a very specific survival mechanism. You're going to do everything that you possibly can to get to dry land. It doesn't matter what God you pray to. It doesn't matter what curse words that you use. It doesn't matter what you do. You're going to do everything that you can to survive. And that's your goal at the end of the day is how do you get out of the ocean? How do you find some dry land? Now, if we take you and we also drop you into a desert, you're going to do the exact same thing. It doesn't matter who you pray to, who you are asking for help, who you're looking towards. Your survival skills are going to kick in, and you're going to go through some very specific mechanisms. They're not going to look like the same that you did when you were in the ocean, but you're going to have to figure out how to survive. And as long as your survival skills are intact, you're going to do everything that you can, no matter what the environment is. And so if you think about the same thing with your dental practice, if you're only selling one thing, then and that's your path to survival, you're going to do everything you can to maximize that resource. At the same token, if you mix a little bit of the ocean and a little bit of the desert, you don't have to go from one extreme to the other. You can live in that happy medium. It's like the Goldilocks. You know, one of the chairs was too big, one of the porridges was too hot, one of the porridges was too cold. If you can balance your dental practice to where you don't have to sell treatment all day long, you don't have to constantly look for replacing care. If you can teach your patient how to be stay out of your chair, then you can be just as successful. And so that's the goal: is how do you go from one extreme to the other with doing it in an ethical mindset? And if you blend those two together, can we create a perfect harmony? And this is in the Philippines, one of the most gorgeous places I've ever seen. And so that's why we're talking about that. If you can blend the things together that you do, then it makes your business much easier. And especially coming out of the pandemic, you can be just as successful seeing a lower volume of number of patients than you were beforehand. And so that's what we're going to talk about. So what I want us to think about is, what is the difference between a value-based compensation system and a fee-for-service compensation system? So basically, we're going to use auto insurance as an example, and then we'll go into
Dr. Matthew, sorry to cut you off again. A lot of our viewers would like to suggest that you can press the play button so that it will be in a full screen.
Okay. I did that.
You may not be able to see yourself there, but we can definitely see your slides, and we can definitely see you there.
Can you see everything here?
Not yet. It's not on full because we can still see the sides of your slides. We are going into more interesting topics, value-based compensation now. So we wanted really to see the full screen.
Yeah, I did that. Let's try it.
It's getting interesting. So a lot of people are suggesting if you can.
I just hit the screen. Help.
Is it? It's not yet full. So I don't know what's wrong with our.
It is. It's full on.
Full on your screen already.
I just hit the button right now.
Yeah, but can you still see the other side, the other slides on the sides?
All I see is the
one slide.
Yes.
Oh, but we can. Okay, we just would like to. Yeah, there you go. It's a bit clear now. Now we wanted. It's bigger now, so we will continue.
Let me try.
Yeah, it's still there's still space for other. Yes. Okay. So thank you very much for those who are watching right now. I'm sure it's gonna be
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it's interested, and your voice
is
something
that better?
A little better from before, and also the sound. There's a little bit of feedbacks of echoes because really the topic are so interested, so we wanted to make it like perfect for us based on the comments. So I think Dr. Matthew will adjust that. So
give me 1 second. Let me adjust that, and I will.
Okay, so we'll give Dr. Matthew a little bit more time to really try to show us all the details of his presentation, because this is really a great presentation that all of us, or the dentists out there, can really benefit off. So value-based compensation, and we really wanted to see the value, especially we've experienced really an extraordinary time during this pandemic. So, for those who are watching right now, for those who are tuned in, you please, if you have encountered anything that you wanted really to ask, maybe later after the presentation, or maybe even in the middle of the presentation, don't hesitate. We'll definitely try to ask Dr. Matthew. So they said,
I'm going to change the PDF that may
okay.
get better screen
All right.
here.
Okay. We'll wait for that. I see you as Dr. Sheila Campana. Thank you very much for watching. Dr. Lillian there is watching, of course. The what we call the matter of Philippine biomimetic dentistry in the country. Dr. Ann is really.
Is that better?
Can you see it? Ah, yeah. There you go. Okay. Now it's a lot better. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Dr. Matthew will be back. He's now here. So let us continue. Dr. Matthew, thank you very much for your patience. For those listeners, thank you also. Please continue to watch us. You can share this to all the Facebook group in the country, in the Philippines. Don't hesitate to share. Thank you, Dr. Matthew. Go ahead.
Great. So what we're talking about is just the mix between going from a fee-for-service compensation system to a value-based compensation system. And so I'm going to use the auto insurance model. And what I want us to realize is if you're a dentist and you're the bottom, basically, in this model, what we do is we fix cars that have been wrecked. So if you own a car and you own auto insurance, you go to the dentist or the mechanic only when it's broken. And so in a fee-for-service model, you only have one stream of income. That stream of income comes when the car breaks. It comes when you have a cavity. It comes when you have a toothache. It comes when you need scaling and root planing. But what I want us to understand is if you have a value-based model, you can actually have multiple streams of income that you don't necessarily have to get paid simply by fixing the car. You can actually get paid by providing the insurance or providing the service to the car owner. So if something happens, you get paid in premiums through membership plans. And so through a value-based compensation system is like being put on that beach. You can enjoy the land and you can enjoy the water. Being a fee-for-service compensation system is you're only in the desert or you're only in the water, and you have to do what you can to survive. And so what I want you to think about is if your patient is the car, and if you can sell a protection plan, a warranty, a membership plan to the patient who has the car and teach them how to never wreck it, you can make just as much money on your membership premiums, on your insurance plan, on your warranty plan, on consumer credit, as you can on when that car wrecks. And so if you think about that, you don't necessarily have to find treatment. You don't necessarily have to find disease. All you have to do is teach that driver or teach your patient how to do things correctly. And if they don't show up to your practice, you can actually still make just as much money on them. And you're doing them a service because you're teaching them how to do what's best for them. And so in this model, if you only own one part of the thing, we're going to talk about the dentist portion. And so if you're the dentist and you have a patient that needs no treatment whatsoever, the only thing that you're ever going to be able to charge them out is maybe a cleaning once or twice a year and maybe a comprehensive exam once per year. That's all the money that you will ever be able to collect from that patient. You will be doing a good service for them, but you can't make money sitting on your hands if the only way that you make money is by your dental drill. Now, at the same time, since I know we have a lot of cosmetic dentists, if you find a patient that needs 6 to 20 veneers, you're obviously going to make more money on that patient. And so whether we like to believe it or not, if you only make money selling treatment to patients, your financial incentive is always going to make you look for more treatment to deliver to patients. It's like being dropped in that ocean. you're going to always have to be pulled to more treatment. It doesn't matter how ethical you are, how unethical you are, how good of a person you are. We all have to pay for everything at the end of the day. If we can't afford to do what we want to do best, then we'll go out of business. And so you have to be able to balance that. And so, like I said, if we talk about an insurance company, if you can sell warranty, a membership plan, insurance coverage, and that patient or that car owner never has to file a claim against your insurance, they make the most money because they collect their monthly claims on a monthly basis, and they pay nothing out. So the insurance company has an incentive to not pay the claims because that's where they make their money. It doesn't matter if they want to do things for the good or bad reason. They have a financial incentive like we have a financial incentive. And so the insurance company's incentive is always to look for ways to not pay claims, to keep the patient, to keep the car out of the repair shop, to keep you from them having to pay what they need to. Now, if you, as a dentist, actually own both parts of the model and you sell these to your patient, you can actually make just as much money by sitting on your hands as you make by doing that full mouth reconstruction. What happens if you can, instead of having to do 20 veneers, you can make just as much money as selling a one-time treatment of whitening to that patient? Currently, in a fee-for-service model, that's not feasible. You would only get paid for the fee-for-service. But if you teach that patient how to brush their teeth properly, if you teach that patient that you can make custom trays that they can come in once every 6 months, if you ship them bleach on a monthly basis, then you have a recurring stream of revenue that you're being able to make money off of without actually selling more treatment. So the same thing goes for a root canal and the molar tooth that I showed you earlier. If you can keep the patient from having to need a root canal, and you can keep them on your membership plan, then you don't necessarily have to make money selling the root canal. You can make money selling the membership plan. And one thing that you'll find out, especially with dental marketing, when you start doing this, what we found out here in the United States was most dentists, whether they realized it or not, were selling treatment to the patients. And so when I started doing these second opinions and we started offering this dental discount plan, a lot of patients would tell me, you know, doc, I just felt like the dentist down the street was selling me something that I didn't need. And I wasn't sure if I needed it or not. But I knew that he really, really, really wanted me to do this. And I said, you know, Mr. Patient, I have a hard time saying what you need or what you didn't. I wasn't there at that, but we're going to take this approach. We're going to teach you a way how to pay for this. We're going to offer you a membership plan that helps pay for your fees. And then I will try to teach you how to stay out of my chair. And if I do things properly, if we do things correctly, I don't sell you any dentistry. I simply tell you what we found. You have to make the decision of what you want to do. And then we can decide together what's best for your health in the long run. And so what I found when I started having my patients more involved, I didn't tell them what they needed anymore. I was simply asking what they wanted to do. And many of the patients would tell me, you know, doc, I've never been asked by a dentist, what do I want out of this? Most dentists will tell the patient what the patient needs. Why? Because if you look at the way we make money, the dentist only makes money selling treatment. You cannot get around that. It is a simple business fact. It is a simple way the financial compensation system works. And so these dentists didn't do this to be unethical. They simply were trying to put food on the table. And the only way they could put food on the table was to sell more treatment. In my practice, since I made money on the insurance component by selling membership plans, just like a cell phone contract, I didn't necessarily care if they did the treatment or not. I'm still getting my monthly membership fee So I have no financial incentive to sell them something that they don't need. And it's not something that makes me more moral or more ethical, because I did the same thing. I just happened to find out if I changed my incentives, if I paid myself more money to do less treatment, then guess what? I started doing less treatment. And I can pretty much go into any practice probably throughout the world and determine what are the most procedures make you the most money. And so one thing that you can do to check yourself is you can go look at the number of fees or number of the procedures that you give and look about how much money you make them. You will end up selling more of your most expensive treatment to patients than your least expensive treatment to patients, because you have mouths to feed. I have mouths to feed. We both have bills to pay. We both have to figure out how to pay for this extra PPE. And so if I can teach you how not to make money doing nothing, then that's the idea. And so some of the core business concepts are in-office membership plans. And one thing that we came to realize when I was there, I was told that there is no basic national dental insurance, which is great. Because if people don't know that they have an option and you start presenting them an option, then it's much easier for them to understand, hey, you don't have to pay for everything all at once. And then the other thing I came to realize is people will tell me that there's really no credit. Everything has to be purchased up front. And so it is very scary if you don't understand consumer credit behavior. But once you understand consumer credit behavior, once you understand how busy that you are, you don't make any money on an open chair where you're sitting on your hands in the current model. So if you have a patient that comes in and says, doc, I have this tooth, I really would like to fix it. I can't afford it. Well, if you don't do anything and tell that patient to come back, you're not going to make any money anyway. So you have to understand that if you're not making any money anyway, then you don't have anything to lose. So what I want you to think about is, if you have a lot of open chair time, if you have patients that have a need, you can actually build a system just like Layaway, and you can say, Ms. Ruiz, we can help you. What we have to do in our clinic is we will let you pay, $5 or $10 a month. Once you meet a certain threshold, if you hold up your end of the bargain, we will do the work and we'll let you continue to pay out the bill. What that does for you is it lets the patient know that you actually care about them. And it gives the patient a way to pay for something that they may have not felt like they could pay before. And so when I did this, I lent out $50,000 in American treatment the first year I tried this model. And I had one default. I only lost $2,000. But you have to understand something. And when I first started this, that was $50,000 in treatment that I was never going to do. I never had $50,000 to loan anybody. I simply understood my business so well that once I reached $15,000 in income, I would start the treatment. And so I was able to build a quote unquote retirement fund out of zero money by understanding that I didn't have to get all of my money up front. I actually just needed about 30%, which in America was enough to cover my employee salary, was enough to cover my rent, my overhead. It was enough to cover my supplies. And so at that time, all I was lending out was my time. And so if all you're lending is your time and you're sitting in your office doing nothing anyway, would you prefer to get paid nothing for sitting there, or would you prefer to be paid something? And then you create this goodwill for these patients that really are in need. And what that does is it shows your local community that you're really trying to work with people to help them get the type of treatment that they need for the right reasons. And so you have to understand the business side very, very well in order to do this and keep your side safe. This is not something that you can do tomorrow. But I just want you to understand that this is something that has worked very well. And I'm going to share what our membership plan looks like, because people don't typically think about dentistry in this type of concept. So the second thing that I want to talk about is sort of marketing a value-based practice, and what does that mean? the Philippines are already a step ahead of American dentistry because they have such a huge social media following. I think I probably took 1,000, 2,000 photos while I was there, and everyone had a camera. And so when everyone has a camera and everyone posts everything online, some of your best marketing is getting your patients to be your loyal word of mouth referrals. And so what we ask to do is a lot of times patients will want to take photos with us in the practice, and I'll ask them, make sure that I have permission to share that. But if they would tag me online, because what you have to understand is with social media, each platform has its own personality. So if you go to Instagram, someone looking to purchase something on Instagram is going to have a very specific parameter of what draws them to Instagram. Instagram are where you want to show your really nice stylized cosmetic photos, and make it look as pretty as you can. It's a different clientele. Now, if you look at Facebook, if you're going to go buy something on Facebook, you don't really want to purchase any Facebook ads as much. Well, who do you go to on Facebook to find out who to purchase from? You want to be sold on Facebook by your friends. And so what we found was once we got our patients to tag us, to talk about us, to give us a referral, a recommendation on Facebook, we started to really see our word of mouth referrals go through the roof. And so when I saw the word of mouth referrals go through the roof, it's because we used Facebook in such a way to that we allowed the patients to speak for us. We didn't. I bought a lot of Facebook ads. I didn't have great success with it. So instead, what we do is we ask patients to take photos of us, tag us, and then I turn around and share those photos, tag our patients, and boost those photos. And our message has gotten out much, much better, because once you learn the personality of the platform that you're using, you can tailor your ad much, much better to the market that you're looking at. So another alternative, if you think about this, is business to business. I don't know how often this is done in the Philippines, and it's not done very, very often in the United States, but it's just an alternative model. So we understand that if you have a dental emergency, if you're sick, you're not going to go to work. And so we also understand as business owners, if you have an employee that does not show up for work, it is a drain on your productivity. You're not going to be selling as much. You're going to be at a strain. And so also another way to create goodwill is to approach other local business owners in your community and say, hey, we have this membership plan. The goal is to keep the costs down. We understand as a small business owner how negatively a sick, a hurt patient who doesn't come in can affect you. And so something that you can think about is approaching these owners and saying, would you be interested in purchasing a membership plan? Maybe not necessarily for you, but you could help all of your employees, because if we can see your patients, your employees once a year, do a wellness check, let you know what type of disease they have, and maybe predict that this tooth really needs treatment, we can preempt that patient not showing up sick. Then you don't have to lose a day of productivity for your business. And so business owners tend to understand the bottom line a little bit better than most. And so a lot of times when you present someone with a way on how to save them money, on how to increase their productivity, then they will be more open to thinking about this alternative model because it ultimately saves them money. They would actually prefer probably to pay half of their employees' fee in exchange for them to show up to work, because they're going to be making more money with that employee showing up to work and keeping their business running full scale than when their employees don't show up. So the next thing that we talk about, like I just hinted at, is word of mouth referrals. We've gotten to the point to where we're up to about 25 to 27 new patients per month using this model. We don't really pay for much marketing anymore. because we have tapped into a patient population that we are empowering. And this patient population never thought that they could afford dental. And they thought that they, since they didn't have any other way to pay, that they just weren't going to go. And so we say, you know what, we're going to show you how we can make this affordable for you. We're going to show you how you can do this on a monthly basis. And you don't have to pay the $1,000 up front. You know, you can simply pay $100 a month for over a year or whatever that is. And these patients have been so thankful for the care that we give them, that then they go tell their friends. And we all know people of like minds run together. And so if people of like minds run together, you start finding these patients that have been avoiding the dentist because they don't know how to do it. And you give one or two of them away. You give them a great experience. You deliver high quality dentistry that was probably less than what they were told that they needed. They will tell everyone. They will bring their entire families. They will tell their bosses. They will tell their coworkers. They will tell everyone. And so over 80% of our population now is from those word of mouth referrals. And it's because these patients have never been treated in such a way, because they've always felt that the dentist was trying to sell them something, versus the dentist trying to identify what they want instead of what the dentist needed. Now, the other part of this is bundled pricing, and I'm going to share my dental plan with you, and we can talk about how we can tailor this to the Philippine market, because there are going to be some differences there. But so I want you to think about your favorite shopping store, your favorite brand, your favorite way to splurge on yourself. So let's just say you're going to go buy a single jacket, but when you get to the store, they have a 30% off sale, a 40% off sale, a buy one, get one free. Well, what do? Very rarely do you walk into that store and buy a single jacket like you planned and you leave. No, you get excited. You realize, oh, I can actually buy more than I expected. So you end up walking out, instead of with one jacket, you probably walk out with 4 at a buy one, get one free. And so you've paid full price for 2 jackets instead of full price for 1. And so we have to understand that humans are very predictable in nature. Like I said, I could drop you in the ocean, you're going to do something very predictable. I could drop you in a desert, you're going to do something very predictable. And so if you talk to patients in a certain way, if you find out what they want, and then if you give them a way to pay for what they need, they will actually spend more money with a discount than that they will with a 0 discount. And so one thing that I came to learn is, when we transitioned our practice, we went from an insurance-based practice where I was working for an insurance company for a very low fee. When I did that, I'm just going to use some hypothetical numbers. I realized that every patient in my practice only spent $400 for the year. We saw about 1,500 patients a year, and I made a decent living, but I also worked 5 days a week. When I transitioned to this model, we were no longer in network. We asked for our full fee up front, similar to the way it is in the Philippines. And then we started making $1,000 per patient. I still had to work 5 days a week. I still had a larger patient volume. I made more money, but I worked much harder for it. When I went to this model, we offer basically a 50% off coupon that's worth 1,500 American dollars. I actually ended up making more like $1,500 per patient than I did when I offered no discount. And most dentists didn't believe me. And the goal for American dentists is to have a practice to where they're not involved in any insurance. They get their full fee up front, and they don't provide any discounts. And that was my goal until I started investigating this model, and I realized, you know what? If you treat patients differently, if you talk to them in a way that they want to talk to, and you give them a discount, because everyone likes a discount, everyone likes the sale, then they're actually going to spend more money in your practice than they ever did before. And that's what I came to find out. And so I talked to all my friends and different types of dental practices. And I said, guys, I don't need to know how much money you made. That's none of my business. But I just happened to come across this interesting idea that I'm giving these discounts, but patients are spending more. And so instead of having the one tooth extracted this year, and I give a discount, they're choosing to save that tooth, and then they feel like they have a little bit more money, and then they're choosing to be proactive on their other tooth, and they're working on 3 teeth in a year instead of 1, because I'm not making them pay for 3 teeth up front. They end up having to pay for 1 tooth a month. I'm doing the work early. I'm keeping them out of my chair. And so what happens when I do the work in January, February, March? Well, that patient is happy. They're sending me more, and they have been paying. And so then I go April, May, June, July, August, and I get a little bit of a check in the mail for the remainder of the year, and I never have to see that patient again. And it is a scary proposition, but when you treat people correctly, when you do high quality care that doesn't hurt them, they are much, much more likely to pay their bill. And then they're much, much more likely to bring people in who want that same token. Now, when I talk about behavioral-based dentistry, one thing that I do is I tell them, guys, I don't have an unlimited amount of money. I have to pay for my family. I have to do the things that we do to stay in business. And so I'm very upfront with the patients, and I tell them, the only way I'm giving you this is because I think this is what you are really wanting. You have a dental disease, and I want to ensure that you're as healthy as possible. If you don't pay your bill, I cannot offer this program to the next patient that is in the same position as you. And if you don't pay your bill, I maybe not be able to offer the same program to your mother, to your sister, to your neighbor, to your boss. And so I put the accountability also back onto the patient, and I tell them that they're going to have to hold up their end of the bargain, because if they don't, then they're actually going to keep a patient, a member of their local community, maybe a member of their church, from being able to take part in this program. And when you tell patients that, when they understand that you're doing what you're doing from the good of your heart, I believe people are good by nature. And I believe if you give them these opportunities, that they will do the best that they can to hold up their end of the bargain. I've been doing this for about 5 years now. And when we pick the patients that we want to work on, we don't do this for everybody. I'm at basically a 95% collection rate, meaning on every $1,000 that I loan out that I never had before, I'm collecting about $950 of that. And guess what? That $1,000 that I've loaned out, I didn't have the money to begin with. So I'm creating this. And then I wasn't going to do the treatment anyway. These were patients that weren't going to come to my practice and that were going to have the tooth pulled. And so we're now creating an extra supply of patients. We're now creating more demand for our practices, and we're now doing more dentistry that we know is going to be helping the patient. So once you understand some of these psychological impacts, and once you understand the way that patients want to be sold, the way you want to be sold, you can enhance this. You can do it in such a way where you're not constantly looking to do extra work, but you're only looking to do what's necessary, because you're going to get paid no matter what walks in the door. And so one thing that I want to talk about is these are 2 of my babies. Ruby's my dog in the background, and Lily, who's 4 now. This was when she was 1. And so everyone has a different way to view. These are doctors that have really changed the way I practice, that are some of my mentors. And so these are doctors also that you can typically find online, and that if you're interested in and doing some more research on the way I do things, that you can Google and search them, and to have a little bit more insight of the way that I do things. So I know we've sort of talked about a lot of wide-ranging things today, and then we're going to open it up to questions, because, and I also am going to share my plan with you. But these are also terms that that I use a lot and that have changed the way that we do things. And so once again, if you want to know more about me, then these are ways that you can actually look up key concepts and the literature in Google, and to get an idea of some more in-depth reading of the way we run our dental practice. And then this is where you can find me on Facebook and my website. So what I'm going to do is switch the screen, and I'm going to go my dental with you, so you can understand what that looks like.
Okay. Wow.
Because
So,
this show up. Can you see my?
yeah, we can hear you, Dr. Matthew.
Yes.
Are you done?
Can you see my logo?
We're gonna show your logo. There you go. So affordable dental coverage for you and your family.
Okay. This is I'm going to go over this with you, so you actually have a real idea what this looks like. Okay. So our plan works is if a single person, we charge you $39 a month. If you're a couple, we charge you $65 a month. If you're a family up to 4 people, we charge you $100 a month. This is modeled after American healthcare. And so when you join our plan, as you can see, you get coverage. And so say if you're on our plan and you need a exam, we don't actually charge the patients out of pocket. We will waive our fee, and we will make our money on selling the membership. And so if you need a filling in my practice and you're on my dental plan and say my filling costs $1,000, we provide 50% coverage, which basically means that my dental plan will pay $500 and the patient only has to pay $500. So they get a 50% off coupon. And so the idea is that when you give this to a patient, it's bundled pricing. They don't pay for everything all at once. They're allowed to pay things out, and it gives them a coupon. And everyone likes a coupon. Everyone likes a discount. And so the idea on this is, if you can talk about the psychological, like we talked about the psychological aspect of dentistry, instead of paying for one filling full price, the average patient is going to pay for 3 or 4 fillings more than they typically would. And so the idea is if you don't necessarily have to sell the treatment. If you sell the membership, then you can actually make more money by teaching the patient to never use the coupon. It's like there's coupon books, and if you spend $30 on a coupon book, but you never use the coupon, then the company who gives you the coupon is actually making much more money on you not purchasing anything else in their practice. So that is the idea. Is with our plan, we teach you how to get on the membership fee, and then I try to do everything that I possibly can to ensure that you don't actually need to use it. Because why? I'm totally fine with you only coming into my practice once a year and needing the cleaning, rather than needing the full mouth rehab, because I would rather just make a little bit of money on the coupon, on selling the coupon book, than I would on having to do a lot of treatment, which is a lot of overhead. And so this is the model that we talked about with the dental membership, is that you don't necessarily, you can go to an employer and say, hey, I can sell you the same type of plan. You may never need it, but if you have a patient or an employee that comes in for a small fee a month, we can keep your employee from not having to miss work, and they can make more money on that. So this can be tailored to any market, to any fee level, to any different type of model. But this is the insurance component that you're replacing. This is the membership model. This is the consumer credit in its most basic form. And you can add, we have a 15% coverage on Invisalign and cosmetic dentistry. We do sedation dentistry. And so it allows patients to feel more empowered to purchase something that they may not have felt like they could have purchased before. And so the idea is don't limit yourself to just selling dentistry. Don't limit yourself to one stream of income. And don't limit yourself on the chair time if patients can't afford it. Be creative. Understand that everyone's going to be hurting after this pandemic. Everyone's going to need to be helping each other out. And this is just one small way of thinking about your dental practice in a different way, that you could help out the local community, that you probably will be the only one or couple of doctors doing this. And if patients realize that you're doing this and the dentist down the street isn't, maybe more inclined to come into your practice than the doctor down the street. And it helps you market your practice because it is something completely unique. Because I don't believe anyone actually in the Philippines is doing this. So, like I said, I just want you to think about alternative views of your practice and thinking about ways to be creative so that you're the most sought after dentist whenever everyone can be up and running. So I know we talked about a lot. I'm gonna let Ms. Ruiz come back in, and we will open it up to questions and let me know how I can help.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Matthew. So it was really indeed a great pleasure to have you here. We've actually opened up a lot of opportunity for our beloved dentist. We have learned a lot from the point of view of Dr. Matthew. You know, we have been discussing this all over so many times. Even we've started this dental marketing for 4 years, and we're quite happy that as I always say, Dr. Matthew, in America, dental marketing is really considered before even opening up their practice, before opening up their clinic. So this is a great confirmation, an opportunity for all the local doctors that really dental marketing is needed. But your design or your strategy, your business plan in your particular dental practice is really quite amazing. So we do have several questions here, Dr. Matthew, if I may ask you.
Definitely.
Yeah. So for the benefit also of those who are listening and watching right now, you can see in here that a dentist, you said a while ago that dentist will collect monthly claims. Patient will not shell out money during the treatment, right? So that is actually one of the best way or strategy that you do in your dental practice. What have you experienced in terms of the challenges there? Because as you've said a while ago, in the Philippines, there's no insurance company like that. But as you said, it's also a great opportunity.
So what we found when we do this, we tell our patients, you pick us first. You don't pick the patient. And so if someone's off the street needing an emergency, I don't offer that.
Sorry, Dr. Matt. I think you have a problems with the audio. Some of the doctors also would want to really hear you so clearly. So on the last part of the slides, when you were talking about, yeah, I think so. Can you try?
So can you hear me now?
Yeah, quite clear. Yeah, a little better. Go ahead.
Okay. We have you have to pick type of patient. You have patient trust you, and you have to trust them. And so we have a very low default rate, and our patients know if they don't pay, then they don't that they need. And so we haven't had any problems with the patients paying, and we've actually been members for 4 or 5 years in a row.
Wow.
With no issues. We're the only person offering this.
Yeah, very nice strategy. Also, there's a little bit of echo. There's a little bit of echo on your audio, and because you've answered it correctly. So for all the doctors who are listening, and for those the doctors who are watching, Dr. Matthew's strategy is his clinic, his practice are actually collecting a good amount of money in the insurance company, but in indirectly the patients are not shelling out money to their practice. So so that is a great opportunity also for the dentist in the country. And rest assured that I'll try to seek out help from other insurance company on how we can be able to adapt this, with of course in close coordination with probably the strategies of Dr. Matthew, and we'll see how we can be able to help out dentists out there. Dr. Matthew, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So also, we'd just like to make mention that it's like what we're doing right now. It's a great webinar. We don't have practice. We don't see much patient today, but in your strategy, you're still earning because you do have a membership plan that covers up all the expenses, all the income coming in on a regular monthly basis with less in terms of seeing patient physically. So that is something that is really worth hearing and worth listening and worth watching, and so that most of the dentists out there will try to duplicate that, and that probably get a big boost in their dental practice.
So
So
every
every
fifth of the
fifth of
month,
the month,
you
you
get
get
checks
checked
in the
in the
mail.
mail.
You don't even
You
walk
don't even
in the
walk in
door.
the door.
That's what
That's what it
really
really
changed the way
changed
we
the way we prep. Wow, because you said a while ago again that before your strategy or before your value-based this strategy works, you're seeing 15,000 patients in a year.
1,500.
1,500, sorry, 1,500, and you're working very, very hard, and you are earning, but you're not giving discount. But once you've given discounts, boom, it shoot up your basically your income, right?
We only
We
see
only see
patients a year
patients a
now.
year now.
I only
I
work
only work
3 days a
3 days
week
a week. Wow.
and make
And make
more
more
money
money
than
than
I
I
ever did
ever
before.
did before. So that's the beauty of dental marketing, because a lot of dentists would say, I don't want to give discount. I
Yep.
don't want to give free services because my skills and my service, my specialty, my knowledge are not free. But if you are going into dig into a business venture or the strategy that comes along with marketing, you have to listen to Dr. Matthew. That really works.
And it's
And it's
like I said,
like I
if
said, if
you
you
go to a
go
store
to a store
on
on
sale,
sale,
you're not going to buy
you're
less.
gonna buy less.
You're
Correct.
going to buy more.
Buy more. Correct. At the same time, there are based on your plans, there is what we call the different plans for different treatment or different membership. Can you tell us more about this?
We have
We have one plan. One plan.
one plan,
One plan,
and it's
and it's
different
different
fees
for
for different levels
different
of.
levels of.
So
So
you just need
you
it
just need
clean.
it clean.
It's covered
It's
100.
covered 100.
If
Wow.
you
If
use
you
an
use
extended
exceed
100%.
100%,
If
if
you
you
have
have
something
something
major,
major,
we give
we
you the
give you the
off.
off. Wow, great. Also, I've listened from the start up to the end. We just like to make mention also that Dr. Matthew is also doing the B2B, so business to business. Because in the Philippine setup, this has been written in my book, which will be coming out soon. It's more on B2C, right, Dr. Matthew? We go on B2C, but I always tell them that B2B is also a way to do business. But there's just a confirmation from our guest speaker today that B2B works.
And no one
And no one
is teaching these
these
business owners.
owners.
And if you
And
can
if you
save
can
the business owner
money,
money, they're going to
they're
listen
going
to
to
what
listen
you're
to
having
what
to
you're
say
having to say
and
and
help
help
your staff in the community. And it's your
It's your
network.
network. So, but basically, your practice is more on biomimetic dentistry still, right? So
We only
only
do medic dentistry.
dentistry.
We do
We do
cosmetic,
cosmetic,
and
and
we also
we
do
also do
some
some
ortho,
ortho
or that.
or that.
But
But
everything
everything
focuses
is
minimally
minimally
invasive.
invasive. Correct. This is another issue. No? I hope you still have time for this kind of questions, because
Definitely.
in the Philippines, ethics is a big thing for us. No, that's why 4 years ago I really get a hard time doing this, but now it's getting its trend. The traction is going into basic, because ethical doesn't mean that you cannot get more money and get less treatment. You can be ethical by giving more treatment, but at the same time, is it ethical to pressure patients to get more treatment, as you were saying a while ago, right? So that's also not ethical.
Correct. You want to do what is best for the patient's long term. And so you do well by doing good.
Correct.
The more good you do, the more that you earn in an ethical manner. And this just helps you do that.
Yeah, correct. So I think that clarifies all to all the dear dentists out there. So it doesn't mean that marketing is not ethical. Pressuring patients to get more treatment, which is not necessary sometimes. No, forgive me. It's more unethical than doing marketing. So I think
You want the patient to do the right thing, and sometimes they need to be educated on what's best for them. We don't always do what's best for ourselves.
correct, correct.
Think of it like that.
Yeah. So I think that's about it. Do you have, dear dentist, Dr. Gemma, thank you for watching. Dr. Lasanta and Dr. Marjorie, Dr. Luzville, thank you for watching again. If you do have still question, you can, Dr. Franelia Kaluya. So you have so many fans right here, Dr. Matthew.
Thank you. I know friends, and I think that's what I'm here. Hopefully we have
Yeah, we this is really a great opportunity for us. It's really a pleasure that me talking to Dr. Matthew, who's they said, oh, congratulations to dental marketing because you were able to get Dr. Matthew for this webinar. This is really interesting. He's expensive. So again, it's really so I'm very thankful for this opportunity. Rest assured, dear dentist, we will try. Just try to bring him in the country once we set up more on dental marketing, value-based compensation. This one is a great platform. We have to open our minds into this. I'm not the only one talking in here. There's a lot of people from different countries that Dr. Matthew is confirming it. And we don't have to be toxic. We just have to learn business.
Completely. And anyone can also be doing a webinar on Monday. I will Mr. Ruiz and see more class.
Yeah, Dr. Matthew, if you do have programs, if you do have courses, if you do have webinars, dental marketing would like to also to support that too, so that we can share it to the Filipino dentist. We are very, very happy to share it with all of our colleagues here. And there's one more interesting comment here, Dr. Matthew. Let's party again, Doc Matthew. And also
I'm waiting.
there's another one, Dr. Franelia. We miss you, Doctor. So you're giving us pressure to bring him back, no?
Perfect.
Dr. Lillian, if you're watching,
please. I really want sauce. It was just
again. We didn't hear that.
the recipe for the dipping sauce.
The recipe for the food. Yeah, we have great food here. So anytime that you do have programs, again, I said you're very much welcome to Top Dental Marketing to promote it. We will promote it locally so that we can follow you. Okay?
Thank you for having me.
He should come back for more durian. So all of the sectors really enjoyed it, and more than I think you have built a solid relationship with the doctors here. You have built really a tight relationship. We are a lovable individual in the country, so we love you here. And any final message to all the dentists who watch your presentation? And I think this will be the last. This will not be the last, Dr. Matthew. I hope.
It will not be the last. Everyone feel free to reach out to me on Facebook. Any questions, I would love to help.
Okay. So with that, thank you very much, Dr. Matthew. I'm gonna let you go now. You have so much fun in the country, and we're looking forward for another one. And you just enjoy your family there. Stay safe, and thank you very much, Dr. Matthew.
Thank you.
For the dentists out there, thank you very much for watching Dental Marketing page. Just learn, share, like this page. You press get started. You're gonna learn a lot from here. We do have a lot of lectures and webinars stored for you. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat po. Ito po yung pagkakataon natin na matuto at libre. Wala pong registration. This is brought to you by Dental Marketing Philippines. Again, I'm Roche P. Ruiz, the Dental Marketing Philippines founder, and watch out for the book. It will be released very, very soon. Now, the title of the book is I've Met Stupid Dentists. Don't get me wrong. This is a dental marketing book. It's an international experience plus a local Philippine setup research. So it's a 150 pages book. And watch out for that. Again, thank you very much. Maraming salamat po. Bukas po, we do have a geriatric presentation on how lucrative geriatric practice is. So watch out for that. Maraming salamat. Thank you and good morning.